Hello, and after much delay, welcome back to Krush's Kavern, episode 6. Now, it's good to be back. Glad to be back here on the airwaves. I could give you a bunch of excuses as to why there was a big delay, but honestly, they wouldn't be that convincing and they wouldn't be that interesting. So, we'll forget all that. We'll just move forward and let you know that the podcast isn't dead. I'm still looking to make episodes. We had a bit of a delay, but we're going to get back into it here. I hope you've had a nice holiday break. I'm having a pretty nice time with my family. A lot of social encounters this week. I've had just Christmas and Boxing Day off of work, and I've had to work the rest of the week. Next week I've got a couple of days off as well, but since before Christmas and still continuing now, I'm been out seeing people and being social pretty much every day, every night. And it's been a lot, but it's been nice. It's been nice to just see people that I don't normally get to see and invest that time in just a part of my life I don't get to experience a lot, which is large social settings. It's good. It's hard to say it's good practice, because what am I practicing for? But, just living a well-rounded life rather than just coming home and doing the same thing all the time. So it's been a nice little diversion here around the Christmas holiday. Now, it being the Christmas holiday and coming up to the end of the year here, New Year's resolutions are something that's been on my mind. I'm sure it's been on a lot of people's minds. And I wanted to spend some time today talking about New Year's resolutions, ways that I think that you can form them well, ways that I think that they can fail, and what I'm hoping to do with my New Year's resolutions so that it's something I can succeed and not something that flames out after the first few weeks. So with that, let's get into it. How do you stick to your New Year's resolutions? It's a big question that newspapers, social media, and people have been asking for as long as we can remember. And I'm not here to tell you that I have the answer today. I have some thoughts on ways that my resolutions have absolutely failed in the past. I've got some ideas on my resolutions for this year and why I think they might work for me. And hopefully going through these points, you'll be able to apply them to your resolutions and maybe have some success. So, how do you make sure your personal resolve doesn't fail? Now, I've got 3 problems with New Year's resolutions that you should take into account when you're making your choices and setting your goals. The first one is making a resolution or a goal that's too broad. So saying something like, I want to get in shape, or I want to learn a language, and having no follow-up plan for that, for me, is absolutely doomed for failure. Now, this is something I've done in the past, usually on ideas that I really didn't feel that strongly about to begin with. So something like going to the gym. Everyone says they're going to the gym every year, right? And if it's not something you actually want to do, usually you end up with a pretty broad statement, like, I want to go to the gym. It's not, I want to go to the gym twice a week. It's not, I want to go and be able to do this specific physical activity at some point in the year. It's half-hearted, it's too broad, and you're setting yourself up for failure before you've even started this journey towards your resolution. So when you're thinking about what you want to do in this new year, try to think of something a little more specific. Rather than, I want to get in shape, maybe there's something specific fitness goal-wise you want to do. I want to be able to do 10 push-ups. I want to be able to run for a minute without stopping. Something that has an absolute test of whether or not you've actually succeeded in your goal. Because getting in shape is something that everyone's going to do for the rest of their lives. That's not an endpoint. That's not something you can say, I have succeeded in getting in shape. Or I have succeeded in learning a language. Because at what point do you stop learning a language? I'm still learning English. I'd still learn English words every day. It's too broad, and you're not going to follow through with a resolution like that. The second resolution issue that I've tried and failed in the past is attempting to use social media to have other people hold you accountable for your resolution. Now, even people in your life that are close to you, your family, your friends that have you on social media. They might see this, they might check in with you a couple times, but social media is such a massive storm of content. People are being bombarded with posts every day, every hour, and people in general are just busy. They're not going to have time to be checking up on you consistently online. It's just not going to work out. And if at the start of your journey towards a resolution, you're already shifting the responsibility for inspiration and accountability onto other people through social media, that's another way of setting yourself up for failure. I've tried it before, it doesn't work. The third problem that I've had in resolutions in the past is throwing the entire plan out the window after I drift off track a single time. I am the king of this. I'm the supreme leader of tossing out the baby with the bathwater. Nobody does it like I do. This has happened 1,000 times to me on diets, or, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna do a diet. I'm gonna cook food for 7 straight days, whatever, what have you. And then I go off track one time, I've been eating well for 3 days, and then I accidentally break my will. I pick up a chicken sandwich or something on the way home, and in my head I go, plan's ruined. Just forget the whole thing. And then I spend 4 days eating takeout. Because if I've ruined the plan, there's no going back. There's no benefit to be had. We have 100% failed. Now, this is something I'm still working through, because I still think about this in my head, especially when it comes to exercise. And it's especially untrue when it comes to an exercise plan. If you spend 2 weeks, let's say you're really stuck to it, you're going to go to the gym 3 times a week, you do it 2 weeks in a row, and then the week after that you get sick. Let's say it's not even your fault, it's not even a resolve issue. You get sick, you can't work out for a week. That doesn't mean that you've failed your long-term exercise plan. That doesn't mean you just go, I broke my streak, forget it, exercise is for chumps, we're not going to do it. You still exercised for 2 straight weeks. You still get to enjoy the benefits of what you did. Sure, it'll take you a little bit longer to get to whatever ultimate goal you had for spending X number of weeks exercising, but it's not 100% or 0% situation. You can still enjoy the benefits of the effort, even if you have to put a little delay in there for one reason or another. So with that in mind, I thought about my resolutions for 2020, and I based it around 3 areas of my life that I'm looking to advance in, looking to improve in. That would be content creation, healthy eating, and physical health. Now, pretty normal general areas, but I think with those pitfalls that we talked about in mind, I've created some goals for myself that I can track and that I can succeed in, and that have a definite, and not end point, but ways of evaluating them that is easy to see succeed or fail. So around content creation, this one's a little bit more ethereal, but I want to work on accepting that what I produce doesn't have to be perfect the first time, and that putting out imperfect products is a valid path to improvement. Now, if I look at my stream, for example, what I might do if I listen to my heart and my brain is take an entire month off, spend hours and days and weeks not streaming at all, but using that time offline to imagine and craft in my head what I see as the perfect stream and get it all set up, and then finally, after a month off, return to the air with an amazing product that I'm proud of. But when it comes to streaming and developing an audience, this is objectively a bad plan. I can lay it out logically, it is a bad plan. What I need to be doing, and what I'm going to be trying to be doing, is experimenting and trying ideas online rather than offline. So if I've got one idea, let's just try it live. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work out that time. It doesn't matter if I'm spending a bit of time online fiddling and making sure I get it right. Just doing it live is something that I want to try to do a little better in 2020. And this counts towards the podcast as well. The earlier episodes of Krush's Kavern, I spent a ton of time recording and re-recording different segments, trying to get what I was talking about absolutely essay level perfectly. But I think what I need to do is just work on getting better at stream of consciousness, work on getting better at speaking, and not worrying so much that maybe I stumble over a word here and there. Maybe the thought wasn't as perfectly crafted as I wanted. I have to double back to explain myself. I think just getting the episodes out, working on it basically live as a podcast can be, is going to help me out more than spending a whole lot of time in the editing, a whole lot of time doing takes and retakes, trying to get the perfect product for you guys. I think that's something that's going to happen over time if I take this approach rather than the approach I took before. So that's what I'm looking at around content creation. Around healthy eating, the goal I've set for myself is to try cooking more with recipes. Now, this might seem a little weird to you, especially if you're someone who loves cooking with recipes, but let me explain why I think this is going to help me specifically. Now, I currently don't use recipes at all. I just kind of pick up some food, cook it in the way I usually cook it, and it tastes fine. Like, I'm not a bad cook, but I don't make very creative food. It's just kind of a protein, a starch, a vegetable. There you go. We've got dinner. The process of making the food isn't that interesting to me either, especially in the way I do it. So I think if I start using recipes, number one, it's going to get me into the grocery store more often than onto a food delivery app, for example. It'll get me there multiple times a week. It'll get me picking up new and different ingredients, and it'll make the process of cooking a little more interesting, rather than just having the staples at home that I put little variations on and have it be kind of a boring process. Number two, it'll actually have me cooking more food. Rather than making one giant batch of the same thing I always make, I'm going to be making smaller amounts because that's what the recipes hopefully call for. I don't need to make something that serves 14 because my wife and I are going to eat it for 3 or 4 days. I can make something smaller and I can make something more often. And what that's going to do is going to make me order in less. And finally, and I think this is a big plus for cooking with recipes, this is something my wife and I can do together. And that's always a big plus for me, finding something that we can do together that's interesting, that's fun. So cooking with recipes, I think it's an easily achievable goal. I think it's something that I can very easily track, and it's something that I hope that I'm going to enjoy. Around physical health, my goal this year is to be able to dunk a basketball again. It's been, when's the last time I dunked a basketball? I think that was 12 years ago now. It was the end of my high school basketball career. I had just made the all-star team for the east end of my city. And at that point, I was finally just tall enough, and I was still, I'm a fairly tall guy, and I was tall then. I've grown a couple inches since high school. But I didn't weigh a whole lot, so it was pretty easy to get myself off the ground. That was about 70, 80 pounds ago. So even though I think I'm stronger than I was in high school, I've got to be 70, 80 pounds stronger to get my big butt up to that rim. And it's something I've been thinking about for a while, hoping that I'd be able to dunk a basketball again. And again, like the recipes goal, this is something that has a very definable success or failure. And it's something that I'll find fun. It's something I'm passionate about. And it'll have the side benefits of getting me to want to exercise in general. So it's not, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. Because that just seems like a slave drive. You just go, and why are you going? You're going to go. And that's not fun. But if I've got an actual goal in mind, I think that's going to focus the type of exercise I do and give me a real progress bar on what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And those are my 2020 New Year's resolutions. I think I've properly evaluated the pitfalls in the past that I've fallen into and created goals that are trackable, that are interesting, and that I'm actually passionate about, and something that is reasonably simple to accomplish. Hopefully you've been able to glean something for yourself from this episode, something you can apply to your own resolutions and goals, and good luck going into 2020. Thanks for listening today. If you want to contact the show, you can tweet at Krush's Kavern, or you can send an email to thekrushinator@gmail.com. To see the rest of what I'm up to, you can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram, all at the Krushinator. To see everything I do gathered all in one place, join me on Discord at tinyurl.com/Krushination. Intro and outro music for this podcast was created by Leviathan. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you again soon.